The main story has ended. Yanyan wishes you good health. Now, let the real story begin. We've had dinner, we've drank the wine, and you've taken the gifts. And now you're telling me you want to go home and sleep early? That's a bit naive, don't you think? Hearing me say this, Liu Ruyan taught. Her hand froze on the seatbelt buckle. The vibe in the car instantly shifted. Mr. G, what are you trying to say? Her voice had a slight tremor. Those pretty eyes of hers were filled with panic. I leaned back in the driver's seat and turned to her. My gaze slowly slid from her face, down to her neck, then to her impossibly tiny waist, and finally landed on her pale, tightly shut thighs. Nothing much. Aren't you going to invite me up? Seeing my firm attitude, Liu Ruyan had no choice but to nod and agree. A few days ago, I wasn't him. To be exact, the original owner of this body wasn't me. I transmigrated here, transported into a trashy novel where I made you a CEO, only to end up getting friend-zoned. I became the ultimate sucker of a male lead. The original host was a massive simp. He sponsored Liu Ruyan from age 18, paid for her whole college degree, and propped her up as a company CEO. Houses, cars, designer bags, jewelry. If Liu Ruyan gave it so much as a second glance, it would be right in front of her the next day. He thought everything he was doing was nurturing his future wife. But on the day he proposed, Liu Ruyan hit him with the nice guy card. Mr. G, I'm sorry. I have someone else in my heart. It's my college classmate, Gu Cheng Gaijiru. You're a really good guy. You'll find someone way better than me. Good guy. Just those two words completely shattered the original host's heart. He drank all night long, cried in the bathtub, and then he was gone. When the eyes opened again, I had taken over this body. I spent 2 days digesting his memories. And then, I laughed. What the original host died trying to get, I was going to snatch up on day one. So I dialed Liu Ruyan's number and told her to come out to dinner with me. She dressed up real nice today. Dinner went great too. When I pulled out the limited edition bag, Liu Ruyan smiled, even brighter. After dinner, I drove her to the villa I bought her. The car parked smoothly at the gate. The valet hopped out, said bye, and left. Liu Ruyan unbuckled her seatbelt. Looking a bit tipsy, she smiled at me. I'm here. You should head back. I reached out and slammed the door shut. Hold on. She turned back, looking confused. What's wrong? I turned and checked her out. Gotta admit, this woman is drop-dead gorgeous. Black pantyhose wrapped her long straight legs. Perfect curves. Her delicate collarbones peeked through. And that face was simply breathtaking. This was the face that completely bewitched the original host. He lived like a monk for 3 years. Didn't even dare to hold her hand. My mouth went dry just looking at her. I swallowed unconsciously. I didn't hide my stare at all, like a starving wolf, locking on to prey. My stare gave Liu Ruyan the creeps. She subconsciously shrank back. Mr. G, why are you looking at me like that? It's kinda scary. I smirked, tone dripping with amusement. We ate the food, drank the 50-year-old vintage, and you took the limited edition bag. And now you're telling me it's time to go home? I raised my hand and tucked a stray hair behind her ear. Aren't you going to invite me up? No. She rejected me flat out, voice sharp. I have to get up early for work tomorrow. Before she even finished, my face darkened. Ruyan, playing dumb doesn't suit you. Seeing my aggressive stance, she went dead silent for a full minute. Finally, she nodded, voice barely a whisper, but you can't try anything. Relax, I won't. I pushed the door open and got out first. Of course, I wouldn't try anything. I always make my moves out in the open. Once inside, Liu Ruyan poured me a glass of water. She stood awkwardly in the middle of the living room, like a lamb headed for slaughter. I set the cup down and walked towards her step by step. Mr. G, please don't. She backed away in terror, until her back hit the wall with a thud. I reached out, grabbed her waist, and pulled her tight against me. Her body was stiff as a board, trembling non-stop. Liu Ruyan, I whispered in her ear, remember this. From today on, you are my woman. She struggled violently. Let me go. No, Jiboda, you can't do this to me. I can't, I sneered. I spent tens of millions keeping you all these years. And I don't even have the right to touch you? No, please don't, she cried out, pushing against me with all her might. In my heart, I've always just seen you as a big brother. Huh, then you've read me completely wrong. I scooped her up into my arms and walked to the bedroom. That night, I took her first time. She cried her eyes out, digging her nails deep into my back. And I didn't show her a single ounce of mercy. The next morning, I got dressed and stood by the bed. Sunlight filtered through the gap in the curtains, landing on Liu Ruyan's pale skin. She was curled up on the bed, tear streaks still on her face. Her legs were still twitching occasionally, from the intense pain of last night. Next, I headed to the office. Everything was business as usual. When I got to my office, my assistant, Xiao Zhao, had already prepped my tea and schedule. I took a sip of tea, my expression totally unreadable. By the way, recently, didn't President Liu bring someone into the company? Yes, his name is Gu Cheng, approved personally by President Liu Do Dai Da. A cold smirk crept onto my lips. Gu Cheng was Liu Ruyan's precious first love. The college classmate she rejected the original host for. Well, since he's already here, I might as well deal with him today too. Gu Cheng was placed in the marketing department, with a title like project specialist. To put it bluntly, a do-nothing job. A cushy role with a fat paycheck. 25,000 a month. Higher than veterans who'd been here for 5 or 6 years. Everyone in the company knew he was a nepo hire brought in by Liu Ruyan. Gossip was flying behind closed doors, but no one dared say it to his face. Gu Cheng didn't have much talent, but he had a massive ego. Showed up an hour late on his first day. Didn't even greet his coworkers when he walked in. Just plopped down at his desk and started scrolling on his phone. The marketing director, Lao Zhang, knowing he was President Liu's guy, bit his tongue and let it slide. He just gave him a basic task of organizing client files. A few days passed. Gu Cheng hadn't finished a single file, and even managed to lose several crucial contracts and important documents. When Lao Zhang finally tracked him down, he was in the break room sipping coffee with his legs crossed, earphones in, completely ignoring Lao Zhang's questions. These contracts are vital company documents. You have to take responsibility for losing them. Lao Zhang was frantic. Gu Cheng pulled out one earbud, looking extremely annoyed. So what if they're lost? Just print out another copy. It's not that deep. Why are you freaking out? Lao Zhang turned pale with rage. He immediately came to me to snitch. I just laughed when I heard it. Talk about perfect timing. I told him to come to my office. 10 minutes later, Gu Cheng swaggered in, looking like he couldn't care less. Mr. G, you looking for me? I leaned back in my chair, deadpan. You lost 3 client contracts. You know how much of a mess that makes for the company? Gu Cheng just shrugged. What mess? It's literally just a few pieces of paper. Besides, those aren't even VIP clients. So they got lost. Did you really need to call me in here? Unnecessary. I stood up and walked right up to his face. Those 3 contracts total 8 million in orders. And thanks to your screw-up, the client is pulling the plug on the deal. Still think it's not that deep. My vibe clearly intimidated him a bit, but he still mouthed off. It's just 8 mil. Not exactly a massive fortune. Mr. G, stop being so dramatic, okay? Plus, Ruyan hired me. You gotta give her at least some face, right? He emphasized the name, Ruyan, his eyes practically screaming provocation. I narrowed my eyes. This punk was reminding me that he had Liu Ruyan backing him up, and that he was untouchable. Interesting. Fine, buddy. You're right. 8 million really isn't that big of a deal. I nodded. Since you're such a hotshot, the losses for this project can just be docked from your pay. You make 25K a month. We'll dock it until you've paid it all back. Should only take about 26 years. Truth be told, those contracts and files weren't actually lost for good. We could easily just redo the paperwork. But I specifically wanted to make an example out of him and call the cops to hold him liable for the damages. It didn't matter if he could actually pay up. Having a criminal record would ensure nobody in this industry would ever hire him again. Gu Cheng's face instantly dropped. What did you just say? Did I stutter? I patted his shoulder. If you think that's unfair, you can go cry to President Liu. But let me give you a reality check. I am the legal representative of this company. I hold 100% of the shares. Liu Ruyan is just a manager I hired. She only executes orders. She has zero power over HR or finances. Gu Cheng's lips trembled. His cocky attitude instantly evaporated. Mr. G, go recompile the contents of those 3 lost contracts, right now, and have them on my desk before end of day. If even one is missing, you're dead meat. Gu Chang gritted his teeth and stood up. He shot me a death glare, then turned and stormed out. He didn't go fix the contracts, though. He went straight to Liu Ruyan instead. Liu Ruyan's vibe today really threw him off. She was usually hyperpunctual, but today she didn't show up until almost noon. And ever since she walked in, she'd been totally out of it. When she walked, her legs involuntarily spread slightly apart. She winced with every step she took, like she was fighting through some kind of pain. She completely zoned out during the meeting, too. Her secretary had to call her name 3 times to snap her out of it. When Gu Cheng pushed the door open, Liu Ruyan was just staring blankly at her screen. Ruyan, you gotta do something. Gu Cheng slumped into the chair across from her. He exaggerated what just happened, adding plenty of fuel to the fire. That G Boda is straight up targeting me. He hates my guts. And he's trying to push me out. He even wants to hold me legally responsible. Liu Ruyan snapped back to reality. Looking at Gu Cheng's furious face, she suddenly felt a bit detached. She used to think Gu Cheng was so hot, that perfect golden retriever boyfriend type. But looking at him right now, she just didn't see the hype anymore. You lost the client contract? Liu Ruyan's voice was a little hoarse. That's not the point. Gu Cheng waved it all. The point is G Boda. I asked if you lost the contracts. Liu Ruyan cut him off, her tone taking on a serious edge. Gu Cheng was taken aback. Then he got annoyed. Yeah, I lost a couple of contracts. But it's not a big deal. Ruyan, you're the CEO. You're the only one who can help me now. You can't let G Boda bully me like this. Liu Ruyan went quiet for a few seconds. If this were before, she would have taken his side in a heartbeat and come marching into my office to pick a fight. But things were different now. Her body still carried the lingering heat of that man from last night. Her mind was stuck on an endless loop of those shameful, unforgettable scenes. She simply couldn't act tough with me anymore. Liu Ruyan opened her mouth. I'll go talk to him. She stood up. The dull ache between her legs made her stumble for a second. Gu Cheng quickly grabbed her arm. Ruyan, what's wrong? Are you sick? I'm fine. Liu Ruyan pulled her arm away. The movement was incredibly casual, but Gu Cheng's expression instantly darkened. When my office door opened, I was scrolling through financial reports. Liu Ruyan was standing in the doorway. She had her hair pinned up today, exposing her pale, slender neck. You could faintly see a dark red mark on it. A mark I left last night. My eyes lingered on that hickey for a second, before looking away. What is it? Liu Ruyan walked in. She stopped in front of my desk. I could feel her heart racing. That overwhelming, unspeakable tension made her voice shake slightly. Boda, about the Gu Cheng situation. You're here to beg for him? I put down the report and looked up at her. Our eyes locked, like she had been burned. She instantly looked down. I'm not begging. Her voice trailed off into a whisper. I just wanted to know if you could give him one more chance. He's brand new to the company. He doesn't know the ropes yet. It's normal to make a few mistakes. I waved my hand, cutting her off. Save your breath. Trash like him doesn't belong in our company. But Gu Cheng's family is struggling. He really needs this job. Can you please just, no, even if God himself came down, he's still getting kicked out of this company. Seeing that I wasn't backing down, Liu Ruyan realized there was no room for negotiation. Looking defeated, she turned to leave. Wait, I stopped her. Boda, did you change your mind? She spun around, a look of pure hope lighting up her face. But before she could even run over to hug me, my next words sent her spiraling into the abyss. You need to pack up your desk and resign too. It hurts me to see you working so hard out here anyway. From now on, just stay home and focus on pleasing me. She was definitely competent, but I still wanted her out of the company. After all, you can never be too careful. Liu Ruyan wasn't willing to just let it all go. But I shut her down completely. Nothing she said was going to change my mind. Eventually, she just nodded in submission. Once she left, I hit the intercom on my desk. After the guards escorted Gu Cheng out of the marketing department, I gave the order, without my permission. He's not allowed to take a single step into this company. 2 security guards walked in. Grabbing Gu Cheng by both arms. Wu Cheng's face turned beet red, fists clenched tight. He glared daggers at me. Boda, you're gonna regret this. Wu Cheng thrashed around a bit, but was literally dragged out of the office. From the hallway, his furious roars echoed, Liu Ruyan! Liu Ruyan, get your ass out here! Look at what Boda just did. But little did he know, Liu Ruyan had bounced even earlier than him. After Yu Cheng got kicked to the curb, the show wasn't over. I had people spread the word that Jiu Zheng was fired for leaking company trade secrets. No company would dare hire him now. Plus, our G Corporation has a ton of clout in the local business scene. Dropping that rumor basically blacklisted Jiu Cheng from ever getting a job. Over the next month or so, Guo Cheng spammed his resume to every company, big and small. Total radio silence. He went to over a dozen interviews. The moment they saw his name, their faces dropped. They'd politely show him the door. One HR rep at a small startup straight up told him, Mr. Jiu, it's not that we don't want to give you a chance, but your reputation is pure garbage right now. If you want a job, I suggest you try another city. But Gu Cheng wasn't giving up. He was convinced Liu Ruyan wouldn't just leave him hanging. He blew up her phone with calls and sent her countless messages. At first, Liu Ruyan would reply a bit, telling him to hold on, saying she'd figure something out. But, slowly, the replies got fewer and shorter, until eventually she just left him on read. Gu Cheng started panicking. He ran to Liu Ruyan's gated community to ambush her, only to find he couldn't even get past the front gate. He went to camp outside the company, but the security guards shooed him away on sight. They wouldn't let him anywhere near. If he tried to act up, he'd get a beatdown. During all this time, I was with Liu Ruyan practically every night. From her initial resistance and shame, Liu Ruyan slowly got used to it. She even started initiating. When I got home from work, she'd be waiting for me in that silk nightgown I like. When I took a shower, she'd have my towel and pajamas ready. When I was burning the midnight oil, she'd bring me a hot glass of milk. She was acting more and more like a real wife. I saw all these changes, and I knew exactly what was up. It wasn't that she had suddenly fallen in love with me. Her body was just used to me. Her entire life was completely under my control now. That evening, I got home from the office. The moment I pushed the door open, I saw Liu Ruyan standing in the middle of the living room, looking absolutely livid, clutching her phone, knuckles white from gripping it so hard. Boda. Her voice was sharp and frantic, barely hiding her explosive anger. What the hell did you do? I changed into my slippers, walked over to the couch and sat down. I slowly, casually loosened my tie. What's wrong? Stop playing dumb. Liu Ruyan stormed up to me and shoved her phone screen in my face. Gu Cheng came to find me today. Over the past month, he sent his resume to every single company, and no one would take him. A few days ago, his landlord kicked him out. He's been sleeping under a bridge for days. Right now, he's running a high fever on a park bench, and he doesn't even have money for meds. If this keeps up, he's going to die. Her eyes went red, her voice cracking with tears. You're behind this, aren't you? You had him blacklisted, didn't you? I pushed her phone away, looked at her furious face, and smirked. Yep, it was me. I admitted it so easily that she actually froze. Why would you do that? Her tears finally spilled over. You already kicked him out of the company. What more do you want? Are you only going to be happy when he's dead? I leaned back on the couch and crossed my legs, saying slowly, you didn't really think crossing me would just end with getting fired, did you? Liu Ruyan's crying instantly stopped. If the price of pissing me off was that cheap, wouldn't everyone want to take a swing at me? I stared dead into her eyes. Since Gu Cheng had the guts to flex in my company and provoke me to my face, he better be ready for the consequences. You're a psycho. Liu Ruyan grabbed a throw pillow from the couch and chucked it at me. You're completely unhinged. I dodged it, stood up, and looked down at her. You're right. I am unhinged. So? Liu Ruyan was scared into taking a step back, but quickly straightened her posture again. I'm leaving you. Her voice was shaking, but her tone was dead serious. I can't stay here anymore. Every single second is suffocating. I'm leaving you. I'm going to start over using my own abilities. She turned and grabbed her purse from the couch and strode toward the door. "Stop right there." My voice wasn't loud, but she stopped in her tracks involuntarily. I figured this day would come. I walked over to the TV stand, opened the drawer, and pulled out a massive stack of documents. So I prepped a little something in advance. I tossed the stack of papers onto the coffee table. Liu Ruyan looked down. It was a stack of bills. To be exact, it was from the last 4 years. A detailed record of every single cent I had spent on her. From her freshman tuition of $5,800 to that Hermes bag I bought her last month for $370K cut. From the $20K monthly allowance wired to her card, to the down payment and installments on that Porsche Cayenne, from the rent for her luxury apartment, to every single meal, every piece of clothing, every trip to the beauty salon. Lines and lines of numbers, neatly listed on the pages. At the very bottom of the last page was a bold, oversized total, 27,893.8924 RMB. Staring at that number, Liu Ruyan froze on the spot, like she'd been struck by lightning. 2789 million. Her lips were trembling. How is it this much? The receipts don't lie. I sat down on the couch, draping my arms over the backrest. Every transaction has bank statements and invoices to back it up. 100% legit. Liu Ruyan actually picked up that stack of bills, flipping through them page by page. Her fingers moved faster and faster, and her face got paler and paler, because she realized every single entry was real. Every penny I gave her over 4 years, every single thing I bought her, was clearly documented. Even those times, she casually mentioned, "That necklace is so pretty." And the next day, the necklace appeared on her desk. All of that was recorded too. A quick mental math check proved the total was pretty much spot on. Liu Ruyan's hands went limp. The stack of bills scattered all over the floor. I was your sponsored student." Her voice sounded like it was squeezed from her throat. "You did all of this voluntarily, but we didn't sign a sponsorship contract, right?" I tapped a stack of bills. "And the transfer records don't say voluntary gift either. According to the law, large bank transfers without explicitly stating their gifts can be clawed back. Want me to get my lawyer to give you a consultation?" Liu Ruyan's body swayed. She had to grab the armrest to keep from collapsing. The living room fell silent for a long time. The clock on the wall ticked away. Every tick struck her heart like a hammer. "Jiboda." Her voice became incredibly faint. We've been together for so long. Are you really?" I raised my hand, cutting her off. "Save the BS. Right now, you've got 2 options. Either we talk about feelings, or we talk about money. But you can't mix the two. You tell me, which one are we doing?" Liu Ruyan bit her lip. Bit it so hard it almost bled. After a long while, she finally forced the words out. "I put in work, too." Her voice was as small as a mosquito's. It felt like she was too ashamed to say it. Yet, she didn't have much confidence either. I raised an eyebrow. I pulled out my phone and opened the calculator. "You're right. You did put in work. Let's do the math." My fingers tapped rapidly on the screen. From our first time to now, it's been exactly 1 month and 18 days. During that time, I was out of town on business for 3 days, and you were on your period for 5, so in total you put in work for 40 days. I turned the phone screen toward her. "Name your price." Liu Ruyan's face instantly turned beet red. So red it looked like it was bleeding. "You're shameless." Her voice went up an octave. "I'm not that kind of girl. How can you calculate something like that?" I put my phone away. I feigned a look of surprise. "Oh, so you're saying you want to use this past month to completely clear the 2789 million tab?" I looked her up and down. My eyes slid from her face to her chest, down to her waist, and finally landed on her long legs. "I mean, you're pretty. But your asking price is a little insane, isn't it?" Liu Ruyan's body began to shake violently. Tears rolled down her face like a broken string of pearls. From the day she was born, she had never been humiliated like this. She wanted to fight back, wanted to say something to salvage her last bit of dignity. She opened her mouth a few times, but couldn't get a single word out. Because every word I said was a hard fact. The food she ate, the clothes she wore, the house she lived in. I gave her all of it. Even the outfit she was wearing right now was bought with my credit card. Pay up, or submit. I walked over to her, reached out, and grabbed her chin, forcing her to look up at me. There is no third option. My thumb brushed away her tears. I softened my tone. Liu Ruyan, I actually treat you really well. You know exactly how well I've treated you these past 4 years. Even in this past month, I've never done you wrong. Whatever you asked for, I gave you. Whatever you wanted to buy, have I ever said no? You're just a pet canary. But if you're gonna be a canary, act like one. I'll give you everything you need. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't expect the food in the cage and still want to fly out and play. I let go of her chin and turned toward the bedroom. Think it over carefully. When you figure it out, come find me. The bedroom door clicked shut behind me. Liu Ruyan stood alone in the living room, surrounded by the scattered bills. She slowly squatted down. She picked up the papers one by one, holding them in her hands. Tears dripped onto the paper, smudging the ink, blurring those cold, hard numbers. Clutching that stack of papers, she sat on the couch all night. The next morning, when I walked out of the bedroom, I saw that Liu Ruyan had already changed into a light-colored dress. Her hair was perfectly styled, her makeup light and flawless. On the dining table was a freshly cooked breakfast. Fried eggs, bacon, toast, and a glass of warm milk. When she saw me, she stood up, and gave me a gentle smile. Breakfast is ready. Eat while it's hot. There were faint dark circles under her eyes, traces of a sleepless night. But her smile was calm. So calm, it was like nothing happened yesterday. I glanced at her, and sat down at the table. Liu Ruyan sat across from me, hands folded neatly in her lap, poised and elegant, like a true lady of the house. Figured it out? I took a bite of toast. I figured it out. Her voice was soft, but steady. You're right. I should act like the canary I am. I nodded. I didn't say anything else. From that day on, Liu Ruyan changed completely. She stopped bringing up Jiu Cheng. She stopped talking about leaving. She didn't even mention work anymore. She handed total control of the company to me. She stayed home all day, learning to cook, arrange flowers, and brew coffee. Every day when I came home, she'd be waiting by the door, taking my briefcase and coat. She'd stand on tiptoes and kiss my cheek. At night, she'd have the bath water ready, and my favorite pajamas laid out. In bed, there wasn't a trace of resistance left. She was gentle and obedient, completely tame. I was very satisfied with her performance. I've never been a cheap guy. As long as Liu Ruyan played her part, I wouldn't hold back. When the new season's limited Hermes dropped, I had 3 different colors, sent straight to the house. When Liu Ruyan got the bags, her expression was totally neutral. Sometimes she'd say I didn't need to buy her so much. She'd say, "Thank you," and kiss my cheek. And then she'd put the bags in the walk-in closet. That walk-in closet was already stuffed to the brim with luxury goods. Some of the tags hadn't even been ripped off. She used to be hyped for days over one new bag, posing in front of the mirror, taking dozens of selfies for her socials. But now, she just gave them a passing glance, and stored them away. It was like she had completely lost all feeling for this stuff. As for Jiu Cheng, his life was getting worse by the day. After getting rejected by every corporate job, he couldn't even score a gig washing dishes. He applied to be a waiter at a restaurant. The boss took one look at his ID, and the smile vanished from his face. "Mr. Jiu, sorry, we're fully staffed." He went to move bricks at a construction site. The foreman gave him a trial day. He couldn't even last half a day before quitting. He couldn't even deliver food. When he tried to register as a driver, the app flagged his ID as being on an industry blacklist. My reach was way longer than he could ever imagine. After getting kicked out by his landlord, Gu Cheng really did sleep under a bridge for a few nights. Underneath that bridge, it was freezing and damp. The mosquitoes were insane. He wrapped himself in a torn jacket he dug out of the trash. Couldn't sleep a wink all night. He was running a fever again, and this one was way worse than before. Burning up and completely delirious. He had only one thought left in his head. Find Liu Ruyan do. Liu Ruyan was his last hope. Last time, she said she'd give him an answer. But it had been days, with zero response. He walked for miles to get to her gated community. He texted her. Now, she wouldn't even answer his calls. After camping at the gate, all day long, Liu Ruyan finally came out, wearing a cream-colored cashmere coat and stiletto ankle boots. Her hair cascaded perfectly over her shoulders. She looked entirely noble and elegant. The moment Gu Cheng saw her, his eyes lit up. Ruyan, Ruyan. Liu Ruyan walked up to him, looking at him through the iron bars of the gate. Wrinkled shirt, scraggly beard, sallow skin, hair like a bird's nest, and radiating a stench like he hadn't showered in days. Her eyes were calm, so calm it was almost cold. Gu Cheng, how did you end up like this? Gu Cheng grabbed the iron bars. His eyes instantly went red. Ruyan, you have to help me. That bastard G. Boda has forced me into a dead end. I can't find a job. I'm living under a bridge, and I'm running a fever right now. I'm only like this because of him. Look at me. His voice was loud and frantic. People walking by started to stare. Liu Ruyan furrowed her brow. A look of disgust flashed across her face. She pulled a stack of cash from her purse and handed it through the bars. Here's 20, 0 dowa. Take it for now. Find a place to stay. Buy some medicine and get some rest. This is all I can do for you. Gu Cheng stared at the money, stunned. Ruyan, what does this mean? You're telling me to take the money and leave? Yes. Liu Ruyan's voice was dead calm. Don't come back here, and don't contact me again. Gu Cheng's eyes went wide. He looked completely in disbelief. What did you say? Do you think I'm here to ask you for money? As he said that, he grabbed the cash and shoved it in his pocket. Liu Ruyan took a deep breath, looking at him calmly. Gu Cheng, Jiboda and I, what happened? Happened. I belong to him now. From now on, I'll be a good wife to him and raise our family. Stop bothering me. Go start your life over. Gu Cheng's body began to shake uncontrollably. His expression morphed from shock to rage, and then twisted entirely. He forced you, didn't he? He roared. That animal Jiboda forced you, didn't he? There's no way you did it willingly. You're not that kind of person. Liu Ruyan shook her head. No one forced me. I did everything voluntarily. After dropping that bomb, she turned and walked back into the complex. Gu Cheng gripped the bars, screaming hoarsely. Liu Ruyan, stop right there. Liu Ruyan, besides, 20K isn't enough. She didn't stop. Her cream cashmere coat fluttered softly in the wind. Her silhouette got further and smaller until she turned a corner and vanished completely. Gu Cheng clenched the 20 bucks in his hand, nails digging deep into his palm. Staring in the direction Liu Ruyan had disappeared, his eyes burned with pure, unadulterated hatred. He squeezed out 3 words through gritted teeth. G. Boda. I won't let you off easy either. Gu Cheng's revenge came faster than I expected. 3 mornings later, just as I arrived downstairs at the office, I saw a massive crowd gathered at the entrance. There were reporters with huge cameras, interviewers shoving microphones, and a huge mob of bystanders watching the drama. And standing right in the middle, Gu Cheng had actually cleaned himself up today, shaved his beard, put on clean clothes, and neatly combed his hair. But his skin was still sallow, his eyes totally bloodshot. He looked exhausted and pitiful. The second he saw my car, Gu Cheng rushed over, arms wide, blocking the hood. That's him. That's him. All the camera lenses instantly swiveled to my car. I frowned, pushed the door open, and got out. Gu Cheng immediately lunged at me, but company security grabbed him. He didn't even fight back. He just slumped to the ground, snot and tears streaming down his face. Reporter, good people of the public, look at this guy. Gu Cheng pointed at me, his voice loud and tragic. His name is G. Boda. He's the boss of this company, relying on his money and power. He used dirty tricks to steal my girlfriend. A wave of shock rippled through the crowd. My girlfriend and I have been together since college. We were so in love. We were about to get married. Gu Cheng's tears flowed even harder. But this G. Boda threatened my girlfriend with her job and forced her to do that with him. He completely destroyed us, he cried as he spoke, putting on a highly infectious performance. The crowd started pointing fingers at me. Who would have thought? Looks like a gentleman, but does scumbag things. So what if he's rich? Money doesn't give you the right to steal someone's girl. Expose him, ruin him. Instigated by a few loudmouths, a group even ran into the company and started smashing things. The reporters were ecstatic. Multiple mics were shoved in my face at once. Mr. G, is what Mr. Gu saying true? Did you use unethical methods to coerce Miss Liu Ruyan? What is your response to Mr. Gu's allegations? Gu Cheng scrambled up from the ground, grabbing my sleeve. His face was a mask of grief and grievance. Ji Boda, you have to give me an explanation today. You ruined my happiness. You ruined my entire life. Today I'm going to let everyone see your true colors. Crying his lungs out, voice trembling, playing the absolute, perfect, tragic victim. The crowd kept growing, and the mob grew angrier. People started cursing at me, pulling out their phones to take pics and videos. Some shouted scumbag, animal, and worse. The reporters' cameras were locked on me, waiting for my reaction. If I showed even a hint of panic or anger, it would be front-page news across all platforms tomorrow. But, to their surprise, I didn't panic at all. I looked down at Jiu Cheng's hand, gripping my sleeve, then looked up, locking eyes with the closest female reporter. My expression was as calm as a stagnant pool. You're saying I used dirty tricks to force myself on that woman? My voice wasn't loud, but amidst the noisy crowd, it reached every single person's ears crystal clear. Then why didn't he go to the cop? The moment I asked that, the crowd suddenly went dead silent. My gaze swept across everyone present, the corners of my mouth pulling up into a mocking smirk. As the saying goes, if you're right, find the cops. If you're wrong, find the reporters. Since he claims I broke the law and assaulted a woman, then what he should be doing is filing a report at the police station, not hauling a camera to my company's front door to throw a pity party. I pulled my phone out of my pocket. I lit up the screen for everyone to see. It showed a call log to 110. The timestamp was 3 minutes ago. I already called the cops. The police will be here any minute. The hand Gu Cheng had clamped on my sleeve suddenly let go. You could visibly see the expression on his face stiffen. You called the cops? Yep, I put my phone back in my pocket. I smiled gently. Since you're saying I committed a crime, of course we need the police. Didn't you want an explanation? I think the police will give you a great explanation. And while they're at it, they can investigate who exactly is pulling the strings behind the scenes. I turned around, facing the reporters with their cameras, the crowd with their phones up, and, to everyone else here, everything you filmed today, every word you said, I will have it all thoroughly documented. Spreading rumors, defamation, disrupting normal business operations, gathering a mob to cause trouble. Are these enough to press charges? When the police get here, they'll tell you naturally. As for the reputational and financial damages to my company, my legal team will settle the score with you one by one. Nobody gets away. My tone was so calm, like I was talking about something totally insignificant. The people who had been cursing the loudest just a second ago, their faces started looking very unnatural. A few people holding their phones up quietly lowered them. The reporters looked at each other and involuntarily pulled their microphones back a bit. Gu Cheng's face was now completely white. He instinctively took a step back, his lips trembling like he wanted to say something, but nothing came out. I adjusted the cuff he had just been grabbing and walked toward the company doors without looking back. I stopped at the entrance, turned my head to the assistant next to me and said, "Tell the legal department to save all of today's security footage. Every single person, every single face out here, find out who they are. Also, notify the finance department. Calculate the business delays caused by this incident today and any other losses. Oh, and throw in a few broken antiques from the company as well. Submit it all together when tallying the damages." The assistant nodded quickly and jogged off to arrange it. I pushed open the glass doors and walked into the lobby. From behind me came Gu Cheng's hysterical screams. "Ji Boda, don't leave. Stop right there." Then came the sound of police sirens approaching fast. And then, Gu Cheng's voice abruptly cut off. The cops arrived quickly. Gu Cheng and his whole crew were hauled away. The outcome of the whole mess dropped 3 days later for picking quarrels, provoking trouble, fabricating facts, defamation, disrupting normal business operations, and causing massive financial losses. Gu Cheng was sentenced to 7 years in prison. At the same time, G Corp filed a civil suit against him, demanding compensation for the various damages caused by his actions, totaling 327 million RMB. Those bystanders who joined the mob, and the social media accounts that retweeted the fake news, all receive cease and desist letters too. A few people posted apology videos online, saying they were misled, and begged G Corp to let them off the hook. I ignored them. The legal department would handle it, however they saw fit. After that incident, the entire business world learned my style. You can cross me, but you better be ready to pay the price. And that price is going to be way higher than you ever imagined. After dealing with the Zhu Cheng situation, I was in a pretty good mood. That night, I called up a few business buddies to hit up a KTV. We drank and partied until past 1 a.m. before calling it. When the designated driver dropped me off at the villa, it was almost 2 a.m. I pushed the door open and noticed the living room lights were still on. Liu Ruyan was sitting at the dining table. In front of her was a table full of food, all my favorite dishes. But the food had gone completely cold. A thin layer of fat had congealed on top of the soup. Obviously, she had been waiting for a long time. When she saw me walk in, she stood up. Not a trace of complaint on her face, only gentle concern. "Why are you back so late? The food is cold. Let me go heat it up for you." "No need, I ate while I was out." I waved my hand dismissively and sat down on the couch. Liu Ruyan's movements paused for a second. Then she walked over to me and helped me take off my coat. "Why so late today? Was something up at the company?" I leaned back on the couch, eyes closed. My tone casual. "Gu Cheng brought a bunch of reporters to the company today to cause a scene, saying I ruined your relationship, saying I forced myself on you. But it's already been handled. The cops took him away." I said it so nonchalantly, like I was talking about something completely irrelevant. Liu Ruyan's hand, which was hanging up my coat, paused slightly. "And then?" Her voice was incredibly calm. "And then he went to jail, plus over 3 million in damages." I opened my eyes and glanced at her. "What, you feel bad for him?" Liu Ruyan shook her head. Her expression really didn't change at all, just like she was listening to a story about a stranger. She hung the coat up properly, came back to the couch, and bent down to pick up the tie I had taken off. Right at that moment, her movement suddenly stopped. Her eyes were glued to the collar of my shirt. On that snow-white fabric, there was a long strand of hair, black with a slight curl to it. The curl and the color were completely different from hers. Liu Ruyan's fingers trembled slightly as she picked up that strand of hair. "What is this?" Her voice was shaking. Her eyes instantly teared up. I opened my eyes, looked at the hair pinched between her fingers, reached out, and took it. "It's literally just a random strand of a woman's hair." I casually tossed the hair into the trash can. "Stop making a fuss." Liu Ruyan's tears instantly spilled over. "You have another woman on the outside." Her voice became high and shrill. The grievance on her face looked ready to overflow. I leaned back on the couch, looking at her crying face, my tone so calm it bordered on cold. "What kind of nonsense is that?" I looked up at her, a half smile playing on my lips. "Aren't you also a woman I have on the outside?" Liu Ruyan's crying stopped abruptly, like a bucket of ice water had been poured over her head. She froze on the spot. She even forgot to let the tears fall. Her lips trembled violently. "I gave you everything. You can't treat me like this. Have I given you any less?" I stood up from the couch, walked over to her, and looked down at her. "A luxury villa like this. Could you live here if it wasn't for me? And the 2 cars in the garage, the clothes in the closet, the jewelry on the vanity, food, clothes, expenses. Which of these wasn't given to you by me?" My voice wasn't loud, but every word was like a nail, driving straight into her heart. "You're just a pet canary, and a canary needs to know her place. I give you a cage to live in. I give you food to eat. Just stay put and behave, and sing pretty songs for me. That's it. Did you actually think I was going to marry you?" Liu Ruyan swayed, like her knees suddenly lost all strength. She slowly collapsed onto the floor. Tears slipped silently from her eyes, dripping onto the marble floor. I glanced down at her, then walked straight past her, heading for the bedroom. The clack of my dress shoes on the marble floor echoed step by step, like an unquestionable sentence. I'm providing for her, expecting her to give me emotional value, not the other way around where I have to coax her. The bedroom door clicked shut behind me, leaving Liu Ruyan all alone in the living room, curled up on the freezing floor, hugging her knees, her shoulders trembling silently. The food on the dining table had completely gone cold. The layer of congealed fat on top of the pork rib soup reflected a cold glint under the lights. She sat on the floor for a long time, long enough for the sky outside to fade from pitch black to deep blue, then from deep blue to a pale gray. Then, she slowly got up from the floor, wiped the tear tracks off her face with the back of her hand, and went to the bathroom to splash water on her face. The mirror reflected her face. Her eyes were red and puffy, her makeup ruined, and messy strands of hair stuck to her cheek. She stared at her reflection for a long time. Then, she turned on the faucet, rinsed her face with cold water, and carefully patted it dry with a towel. Heading back to the kitchen, she took the entire table of cold food and scraped it all straight into the trash can, dish by dish. Her movements were soft and slow, like she was doing something that required utter focus. After all that was done, she walked into the walk-in closet next to the bedroom and changed into a clean nightgown. She sat down at the vanity, picked up a cotton pad, soaked it with toner, and started carefully removing the leftover makeup from her face. 1 swipe, 2 swipes, 3 swipes. The pad was stained with streaks of foundation and eyeshadow. Her hand was totally steady, not shaking in the slightest. Once she was done, she looked at her bare face in the mirror, then switched off the vanity lights. She got up, walked over to the bed, gently lifted the covers, and slipped into bed. I was already fast asleep. My breathing was deep and even. Liu Ruyan turned on her side, her back facing me, and pulled the blanket all the way up to her chin. In the dark, her eyes were wide open. No tears, no expression, just staring blankly into the void. Like a bird that finally understood its place, curled up inside a gilded cage. She stopped flapping her wings and stopped singing. She just kept her eyes open, staring at a random spot in the darkness, until the sun came up. Over the next few days, Liu Ruyan became even more obedient. She'd ask me ahead of time if I was coming home for dinner. If I was, she'd prep all my favorite dishes. If I wasn't, she'd wrap the leftovers in cling film and put them in the fridge, waiting to heat them up whenever I got back. She stopped asking where I'd been or who I was with. She stopped checking my collars and cuffs for clues. Whenever I walked through the door, she'd greet me with a smile, take my things, and hand me my slippers. Whenever I left the house, she'd straighten my tie for me and stand on her tiptoes to give me a kiss on the cheek. Everything was perfect. Every single trait a proper pet canary should have. She had mastered it all. I was extremely satisfied with her performance. Since she was being so cute and sensible, I naturally wasn't going to treat her poorly. New limited edition bags, latest jewelry collections, this season's haute couture. I had it all delivered right to her. Liu Ruyan would smile and say, "Thank you," every single time. Then she'd pack everything away into the walk-in closet. The luxury goods in that closet just kept piling up, to the point where some things went in and never saw the light of day again. She wore the most basic loungewear, walking around the villa totally makeup-free. All those insanely expensive clothes and jewelry were basically like museum exhibits, neatly displayed in her closet, collecting a thin layer of dust. One evening, I got home and found Liu Ruyan sitting by the floor-to-ceiling windows in the living room. She was holding a glass of red wine, just zoning out at the city skyline outside. Hearing me walk in, she turned her head, flashing a gentle smile. "You're back. The food's on the table. Let me go heat it up for you." "No need, I ate already." I sat down across from her, admiring the soft curves of her profile under the lighting. Her eyelashes cast a tiny shadow over her eyes. This woman really is stunning. Whether she was pissed off, crying her eyes out, or acting all quiet and docile like she was right now, she had the kind of beauty that you just couldn't look away from. But to me, this kind of beauty was nothing more than a toy. Nice to look at, easy on the eyes. But that was it. She would never be the Mrs. G. Liu Ruyan suddenly spoke up. "G Boda?" Her voice was faint. Never mind." She shook her head and downed the last sip of red wine in her glass. "I just wanted to say your name." I didn't reply. I just got up and headed to the study. Liu Ruyan sat alone by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the glowing city skyline. The glass cast her reflection back at her. Staring at herself in the glass, she suddenly curled her lips into a smirk. The smile was so faint it was almost invisible. Maybe she was thinking, if she hadn't trampled all over my genuine feelings back then, and had just agreed to marry me, I wouldn't be treating her like this now. Exactly what kind of emotion was behind that smile. Only she would ever know. Outside, thousands of lights glowed in the city. Every single light held its own story. And as for Liu Ruyan's story, it was probably going to be spent inside this gilded cage, watching the sun rise and the moon set, day in and day out. The cage was gorgeous. The food was practically endless. But she would forever be just a pet canary, and nothing more. The end.